Welcome. You are at war. This is Michael Yan in Chiang Mai, Thailand. It is 17:55 local time on 21 March 2020, and we are at war. Many things to talk about today. Later, I'll have Yoko on live in Japan. We were just talking. And also my friend Maddie, who was on live a couple of times before. She apparently has the virus in Colorado and Denver. Her condition has worsened. I'm waiting for a note to come from her now. We've been chatting back and forth. And also another friend in Los Angeles seems to have it, unclear. And then yet another friend over in Hong Kong may have it. And they're all younger. Maddie's 22. One of my friends, I would say she's probably 45, and another is maybe 35. So they're all women. So interestingly, another associate sent a message maybe an hour and a half ago saying that I don't actually know her personally, but she says that she's expecting to go to graduate school in the United States in June, and I responded that you're not going to be going to graduate school in you're not going to be going to the United States in June from Hong Kong, and you should make other plans. That will not be happening. You will not be going to school in June in the United States, unless it's online courses, maybe, in which case this is part of our changing world. And it would actually be a wonderful opportunity. Maybe it's a chance for me to get a Harvard degree online, huh? Let's see. Right. Yesterday in Italy, 627 people died. Spain is catching up very quickly. And as are other countries, it's really kicking off big. And it's going to continue to grow faster and faster. Let me open comments here so I can see any comments. Hello in Florida, Doreen. Everybody needs to be prepared. I noticed that. Hello in Houston, in Illinois, and all over the world, people are making comments. Let's see. Listen, Taiwan is the one country that's been saying what I've been saying. Buy, buy, buy. Everybody else is like, don't panic and buy. It's like, get what you need to get, and get it while the getting's good. I'm not saying go buy all the toilet paper. That's kind of ridiculous. But get what you need to get. And many countries, especially the sort of countries where people watch my channel, for instance, Japan, Thailand, United States, Germany, Australia, Kiwiland, all these countries are countries where you can order a great deal online. And so what's wrong with the microphone? Anybody else having a problem with the mic? Oh, there's a lot of echoes, someone is saying. Oh, maybe now. Maybe this should be good. Any echo now? Tell me if you're hearing echo. How about hello in Puerto Rico? Hello in Wisconsin. Jan Janssen from Wisconsin. Hello in Thailand. Audio feedback, echo, maybe computer input also. Uh-oh. That is a potential problem. Echo, you're getting an echo. Wow, what to do about that? Hold on just a second. I will go to settings and see if I can knock out some echo issues. Sound and input, output, sound effects built in. Sorry about this. Internal microphone, everything. I'm not sure what the problem is. Whatever I did made it worse, someone said. Oh boy, lovely. I think what's happening is I've got two microphones rolling right here, and I've got to turn one of them off. I'm sorry about that. I mean, I could hang up if you'd like and work on it, or we can try to make it work here. Internal microphone. Let's see. Output. Sound effects. Oh boy. Maybe somebody can help here. Well, let's see. Sound check. 1, 2, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Echo chirping. Yeah, let's see. I'm not sure what to do here. Should only be one microphone playing right now. Internal speakers. Selected output device. How about now? You still got the same? Hey, Yoko. I was just talking with Yoko and it was working. Check microphone. Hopefully this will still echo. How about now? It's like YouTube self-help video. Yeah, gone wrong. Exactly. A lot of echo. Well, that is something I don't know what to do about, actually. Input, internal microphone. Oh, here we go. I think I may have found it. Maybe it's good now. How about now? How about now? Now it should be working. Yeah, Barney's running the soundboard. Barney's actually out. This should be good. How's it now? I didn't hear any taps when you tapped. Well, if you didn't hear any taps when I tapped, but it should be, nope, still got echo. Well then, I'll tell you what. Are you sure the main mic is on? It should be on. I don't see how it is not on. So, still getting an echo. Isn't that strange? Oh, maybe a problem is there is another device running here that I can turn off.
I'm sorry.
Maybe this will work, but I doubt it. Goodness gracious. So much software drama's gone wrong. See a gain button, turn it down. Make sure your speakers are turned off. And my gain button should be right. Here's a gain button. Echo with underlying static, white noise. I tell you what. When I lean left, it gets better. This is my left. When I lean left, it gets better. It's probably because there's some internal speaker thing going on here. Let me see here. Internal speakers. There we go. I see. Yeah, there's an internal speakers. Microphone. I'm sorry about this. I think it's better if I just turn it off. It's getting people upset probably. When I lean to my left, it's good, which indicates there's something. It indicates it's not even working with this one, probably. Probably not even working with this one. Does it make any difference if I turn this up? If I put that way up there and it hasn't changed much, it means I'm going on the internal speaker of the microphone, the internal. Yeah, a cyber attack on me. So it doesn't make any difference. When I put that up, that means I'm going through the internal microphone. It's working good now. That means I'm going through the internal microphone on the computer for some strange reason. Alrighty. Yoko and I were just working on this, trying to make it work. It might be a Skype issue. Maybe I'll quit Skype. There we go. Now maybe it'll work. But you might not even be able to hear me now. Now no echo. Oh, that means both microphones were working then. That's what it means, I think. Both microphones are probably working. Static. There you go. All right. Better. All right, let's get going. Good grief. Hopefully, sound better. That means I'm going off the internal microphone. What about now? See, this is the great microphone that should be working. Is this one. Okay, we'll just move on. All right. But it should be going on this microphone. Integral block. Bunch of ticking noises. Oh, the ticking noises are actually people actually making comments. So I just turned that down. So now it should be good. Echo again. All right, there we go. Yes, I'm using my laptop mic, and I don't know why, because we're never using it before. Man, sorry about this. Let's get on with real life here. Okay, built-in 4K. That should be. I think maybe what has to happen is I have to reboot it at some point. Okay, echo now. I'll tell you what. Let's turn this off. I'll come back to you. Unless echo on boom mic. Unless this is good. If it's good now, I will continue. This is unbelievable. All right. All right. New comments. All right, let's go. All right, we're just going to go. We'll go with this the way it is. Put that mic way up. Something's wrong. Somehow I've got both mics going. Don't know how. Okay. All right. Wow. Let's get back to the situation. Taiwan has been telling people to continue to buy, as I've been continuing to say, buy now while supplies last, while the supply chains are still open. Supply chains are still open, for instance, in the United States and here in Thailand. In a store not far from me, a big store, there's almost nobody shopping today. All the shelves are full. I didn't go. Somebody went and had a look for me. Interesting, huh? I mean, really, people should be out there buying right now. There's got to be massive denial going on to not realize what is going on, or maybe false information. I don't know, but it's quite serious. It's quite serious, and that many people are not buying and are not prepared. I keep talking with people that are like, I'm ready. I got 2 weeks of food. 2 people in Hong Kong told me that today. One said I've got 1 or 2 weeks of food, and another said I have 2 weeks of food. I'm like, you are not ready. And a lot of Hong Kongers think that this has missed Hong Kong. It hasn't missed Hong Kong. Hong Kong cultural discipline has kept it to a low roar, very, very low roar. They've done incredible work, as they have in Taiwan. But it's going to hit Taiwan, and it's going to hit Hong Kong. You're not going to escape it. You can just control the flow somewhat by the self-quarantine. Likewise, it's going to hit. It's going to hit Hong Kong. You need to be prepared. And if you're planning on going to the United States for school later this year, I highly suggest you make new plans because you're not going. You are not going. And it says, let's see here, so many things going on. U.S., I've been saying over and over, be prepared for electricity and water to go out. This includes in the United States. It has not, to my knowledge, yet done this in Italy. According to anybody I'm communicating with in Italy, it has not done it. They still have food. They still have water. They still have power. They have no hospital beds. People are dying, 627 yesterday. I'm going to guess it's going to be probably over 1,000 today. That's my guess. Probably something like that. And then tomorrow it'll be some number way over 1,000 if it continues to go. My guest from Italy the other day, a couple days ago, Maria, she said that she thought that it was peaking now. I don't believe that's true. I don't believe it's true at all. I don't believe it's peaking in Italy. I think it's going to continue to go right on up. And I don't know. Nobody knows where it's going to peak. But based on just things I'm seeing now, my guess is it's not going to. And remember, this isn't all science. This isn't all about the virologists say this and epidemiologists say that. There's cultural aspects. There's things that even the best supercomputer cannot calculate for. And that is how people react. Will they stay indoors? Will they do this? Will they do that? And even so, eventually it's going to get you anyway. It's going to get, we're not going to have herd immunity probably, if we listen to the experts, until maybe 80% of the people have come in contact with it or been infected with it. 80%. And at this point, fewer than 1% of Italians have been infected, judging by the numbers that have been printed but published. So fewer than like 1 out of 80th or 1 out of 100th of the number of Italians have been hit so far that need to be hit to make herd immunity. And we're not going to have a vaccine this year, period. It's not happening. And, there's all these, we've seen this over and over. It's not going to happen. And so we can't count on that. This is going to run its course before there's any vaccine. We still don't have a vaccine for that which causes AIDS. We don't have a vaccine for SARS-1. We don't. And we're not going to have one anytime soon. And so that's just reality. U.S. power operators are asking workers to stay or to prepare to stay at their stations, at their businesses. In other words, if you're running a nuclear power plant or whatever, be prepared to bunk out there like you're in the Army, right? To stay at work. And so they're bringing in, cots and that sort of thing and supplies so that power operators can stay. Otherwise, we know what happens. Electricity goes out and a lot of your food that's been stored up goes bad unless you can eat it very quickly. And if you can eat it really quickly before it goes bad, even if it puts fat on you, I would say eat it up and put the fat on you, because we can always take that fat right back off. But you can't unspoil food. Now, if communications goes out, I'll use satellite communications and continue to try to stay online. However, there seems to have been Facebook outages in places and WhatsApp and other things. And for instance, Amazon Prime, I read, was limiting streaming because there's more people at home right now, draining on the communications assets. And so bandwidth is starting to become an issue. And so there's many things going on. Remember, I've been warning about electricity and water since January. If you look at the track record and go back to the beginning of what I've been saying, you're going to see it is amazingly accurate, super accurate. What I'm trying to not tell you is everything that's going on today, but my best guess on what the weather is going to be soon. In other words, I've been saying since January that we're going to probably have huge shutdowns in places like Europe and the United States. Here in Thailand, Thailand's going to shut down. And so is the United States. And now we got New York shut down, California shut down. I think Illinois getting ready to shut down maybe. Florida will follow if it hasn't done it in the last hour or so. I mean, state by state, like dominoes, it's going to shut. And as I've been saying, people that have been watching my work since January, I've been saying, ground, stop all incoming and outgoing flights from the United States, Europe, and everywhere else. It's too late. It's done. But we can still slow it down a bit by stop all the trains, stop interstate travel. Steve Bannon yesterday was very upset with the idea of stopping interstate travel within the United States, because he sees that as a way of, like, he and I both believe in states' rights. But at the same time, he sees it as an existential threat to the United States, insofar as then states will say, we can shut our borders when we see a huge threat to our state. So states could shut their borders for something else in the future. He didn't say this, but I can't read his mind. But finishing that idea train is that, and it's the same ideas that I have as well. If all states start shutting their borders for this, which I think that they should, others think that they should. Steve Bannon thinks that they should not. But it does break the seal on states in the future going, well, we're just going to shut our border to so-and-so because we don't like such and such about you, right? Let's say California doesn't like the gun laws in a neighboring state, and they'll be like, well, we see you as a threat to our safety, so we're just going to shut our border to the next state, that sort of thing. So you could start, these sorts of frictions could start happening. And for people that know much about American history, the worst war that the United States ever had was our Civil War, and it happened over reasons just like this. And it took place between 1861 and 1865, and it was an epically bad war for the United States. I'm looking at some comments here, and I will try to. Meti up in Denmark is saying are taking restrictions here in Denmark, are taking the restrictions serious. Some other Danish people are saying they're not taking them seriously. Chris, I don't know what you mean by, what do I mean shut down? If you mean that they have shut down, or am I saying, or what I'm saying that we should do? What I've been saying since January and February is we should really shut down. We're going to get hit. There's no way we can stop being hit, but what we can do is baffle the disease. By baffle it, I mean, if you know what a baffle is in pressure, it means to make it run an obstacle course, basically, to slow it down. We're making it run an obstacle course. We shut the door, shut the windows. All right, it's going to find a way to get us eventually, but we can slow it down, and so we don't overwhelm our system. Now, a bad part about that is it stretches it out. It stretches it out so that you're having it stretches out your economic damage, right? So there's all kinds of different parts of this formula. And so now a lot of people say it's only about the panic. Well, it's not only about panic. There is real damage being done, and tens of millions of people almost certainly are going to die. I mean, there's probably going to be more people die from this than World War II. My guess, as I've been saying for a long time now, is this will be the most profound event or series of events process in all of human history. Because it's going to be this virus, and then whatever else comes along, and the economic and financial woes, the political woes, and there will definitely be wars come out of this. Which wars? I don't know, but there will be wars, and there will be famines. I don't know where. I don't know how they're going to play out, but I can see it. I studied this sort of stuff most of my life, war and national security and that sort of thing. It's going to be, there's going to be a lot of consequences that are very difficult to predict in detail, but we can predict them in general. Generally speaking, as I've been saying since January, there will be famines. I don't know where. Hopefully not the United States, and hopefully not here in Thailand. There's plenty of food. Probably China. I'm taking a guess. Certainly, is a solid guess would be Africa and other places. So I would say, I want to say it again. Get to your hard point. If you're not at your hard point yet, you are way, way, way late. Some people are not going to make it there. Some people are already stuck, and here, there, everywhere. I see all these news articles, Australian stuck here, Kiwi stuck there, Canadian stuck here, Thai stuck over there, American stuck in Thailand, American stuck in Morocco, South Africa, everybody stuck. If you've been watching my pages, you're home already, and you got an absolute minimum of 4 months supply. And quite frankly, I don't think 4 months is going to be enough for some people in some situations. In other situations, if, say, you're an Amish person, then 4 months is probably fine because you're on a farm and you don't even need electricity and you don't even care. But shut down for how long? Debo says, unknown. To guess that 1 million Americans are going to die from this in the next year is a pretty safe bet. Not to mention across Europe with an even greater population, Thailand's going to get smashed. I know Japan hasn't been hit yet, but look at what Chris Martinson says. He's a great teacher. Case, cluster, boom. Now we see those cases starting now in Hong Kong, and we see it in Japan, and some Japanese don't seem to be taking it seriously. My friends, they don't seem to realize how this actually goes. As Chris Martinson will say it on every episode, he's gotten to the point where he just goes case, the next, and he'll keep going because this is what happens. You get these little cases here. There's one in New York. There's one in Seattle. There's one blah, 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 blah. There's little cases. Everybody says, it's just a few cases. It's just the flu. It's not just the flu. But anyway, the virus is standing on your shoulder and like the devil going, tell them it's just the flu, right? And so there you go. And, did I put my paper on the mic? Uh-oh. Where is the mic? Anyway, I must have. Sorry about that. So, I hope you can hear me now. Right. Let me make sure you can hear me. All right. Let's hope you hear me. So now we're getting booms all over the country. I was watching Steve Bannon's War Room last night with Jack, what's his name, Maxey, and I think he made. Okay, I'm learning something about this microphone here. Steve Bannon seems to be of the same opinion that I've had since January. He's got the opinion now. Shut it down, right? It's either run through it quickly or let me take a note here on something I want to mention. I want to take a quick note. And Jack Maxey, I think is his name. He's always sitting on the left side on the pandemic show. He's saying we don't need to shut it down because this is historically it's going through these ports of entry like New York, San Francisco, and I'm like, no. This isn't 1918. First of all, the 1918 pandemic did get globally. It was hitting all these little islands all over the place. But it spreads at first along these lines of communication, along these ports of entry like New York or these sorts of things. But this is 2020. You can land in New York, jump on an airplane, and now you're in Kansas. There's not an international airport there, maybe that you went to the second airport, but you just came straight from Italy, straight to somewhere in Wyoming. So that's basically, your point of entry may have been San Francisco or something, but you are now in Wyoming just a few hours later. Now, I had a friend in Florida today. One of her friends just came from Italy, and came right to work. And people at work said, you're going to have to quarantine, and she got angry that she should have to quarantine. That's the kind of mentality we're dealing with. What if she didn't even say, she just came from Italy right to Florida. And the place that she went to in Florida, I know it. I know that place very well. I know exactly what business she went to. There is the nearest international airport is down in Orlando, about 150 miles away, right? I mean, there's no international airport close. And yet she just came straight from Italy, right up near Gainesville, Florida, and doesn't want to quarantine. So she might be on Publix 34th Street or 43rd Street or whatever right now. She might be at Books A Million or Barnes & Noble. She might be down at, wherever, shopping around at Walmart or Home Depot. Straight from Italy, straight to Gainesville, right? Florida. Is there an international airport there that she could have come to from Italy? Nope. And so the idea that, we should only shut down these hubs is prima facie. That's ridiculous at best. And now, a lot of people will say, well, if people didn't panic, this would not be an issue. Okay. If the United States and the world were filled with nothing but soldiers, like infantry soldiers, and I was the boss, I was the general of all these soldiers, I would say, well, we're not going to shut down our operation. We're just going to let it run through, and we're going to take a bunch of casualties, and we're going to lose a few million, and we're going to be rocking and rolling. The economy is going to it's going to be a little blip, and we're going to keep right on going. If the world were filled with soldiers like me, I'm not a soldier anymore, but if it were filled with people that have my mentality, then we would just go, let it burn, right? And we would take our casualties, and we would keep right on rolling, and then we would take out CCP, right? Chinese Communist Party. That's exactly what we would do. But the world is not filled with that. The world is filled with real people. The world is filled with a lot of people that are mothers and fathers and everything else, and they have a lot of responsibilities that have to do beyond just taking out CCP, right? They have responsibilities to their elders. They have responsibilities to the world is not filled with a bunch of 20 and 30 and 40-something soldiers, right? It's filled with people of all ages, all health groups, and everything else. And we shouldn't just let it burn through. That's what Africa's going to do. Let's see how Africa plays out. How's Africa going to do anything else? What are they going to do in Brazil? What are they going to do in a lot of countries down in South America? What are they going to do in a lot of countries around the world where they don't even have any capacity to shut it down? Let's see. But I can tell you that. Peter Davis says, this event shows how many of your friends are stupid. This is one thing that is quite frustrating for a lot of people. And for instance, today, I spent considerable amount of time arguing with people and trying to do it in a way to persuade them, not to deliver news, but to deliver, like, how can we make things better? Like, what would you do if this really was the situation that it really is? How can we make ourselves more safe if this is even halfway up the scale of worst case scenario? What can we do to make it safer? And some people will come around to that and they'll talk themselves into, oh yeah, then we should buy more food. We should buy more things. We should quarantine now. We shouldn't be doing this and that. And they'll come to it. Others, unfortunately, I don't have time for their bullshit. I don't have time. I'm going to write them off. And if they survive, we'll still be friends. And if they don't, well, it'll be sayonara, because this is war. And that's how it is in war. If I say, that's a minefield right there, I wouldn't do that shit if I were you. And he goes, I know where the mines are, and boom, all right, sayonara, here we go. You know, this is big boy rules. But the problem now is that they can bring this back to us. You know, it's the bees that go out to the poison flowers and bring the poison back to the hive. Well, that's what's happening. You know, they're poisoning the hive. And so that's a problem that we all have. And so now I see people, I saw an article today in the Korea Times or something. And somebody's lamenting, oh, look at the West now, we're cracking down on human rights, to tell people they shouldn't be on the streets. You can't even make up this stuff. I mean, that's like saying you're cracking down on human rights by saying, if you drink and drive, we'll put you in prison. You know, if you come over from some country where it's cool to drink and drive on the streets, and you go to Florida, I've warned people about this. I've warned them. I've told them, I'm like, go to Florida, enjoy yourself. In your country, it's cool to drink and drive. You can get away with it. If your ass gets caught doing that in Florida, you are going to jail. Your vacation is over. And it doesn't matter if you're rich. You know what I mean? This is different rules in Florida, and it's rules that I agree with. Because the drinking and driving thing, I've had friends get killed. And I don't care if you go to prison. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I hope you go to prison. So, I mean, this is the point. It's the same with this disease. This disease, everybody walking around who has it is based, we don't know who has it. It's like suicide vest. Who's wearing the suicide vest? You know, we don't know. Because we've not even come anywhere near herd immunity, right? We haven't come anywhere close to that. It's just like this American woman who just came in from Italy and wanted to go straight to work in Gainesville, Florida. And, it's like, no. And then she got angry. So she's probably out shopping in stores right now. Who knows? She might be at a party tonight with a bunch of other idiots. You just never know. And so let's try to take some questions here. And by the way, I'm going to get Yoko on. Hopefully Yoko's watching now. And Yoko's up in Japan, and we'll talk with Yoko. I was on her show recently. And let me see if Maddie is doing okay. I'm turning on a couple other machines here. So Maddie, I had Maddie on a couple days ago. Maddie, I met her in Hong Kong. She was there to be a human rights observer. She's only 22 years old. She's very healthy. She was running around in the middle of the night out there in Hong Kong, getting tear gassed and everything else. So I saw her in action. She's quite healthy. Now she's gone back to Denver. She didn't get it in Hong Kong. She's been back a long time. She's clearly picked, and she actually seems to know who she got it from. She's still waiting for her test. So she got tested I was doing a live stream, right? And so it was about 2 days ago, and she still does not even have the results. Many Americans are getting these huge hospital bills. Now, you got to think about it. If you're our medical system in the United States is absolutely pathetic. I mean, we've reached the point where we are going to pay for our sins. And Thailand is going to pay for sins as well. Because there's a lot of people that can't afford to take 2, 3, 4 kids and the husband and wife into the hospital and run up a $100,000 bill on this stuff. They're going to stay at home. They're going to keep going to work, even though when they think that they've got it, right? It's going to be hell to pay because the disease, first of all, it's going to kill some of them. And secondly, they're going to spread it more because they can't afford to just stay home. Now, I know they're talking about the $1 trillion package now and other ways to ameliorate this. But look, these are things that should have been recognized not just years ago, but generations ago. Likewise with our preparations as a nation for this. Our preparations as a nation are pathetic. We've had since United States, we've had since 1918 to have a stockpile of masks. We don't have them. Instead, we get a Surgeon General clown out there, Jerome Adams, wearing his big Navy hat in front of the White House. You seen how big that hat is on his little head? He's out there in front of the White House and he's doing his tweets telling, trying to shame people for using masks. Utterly ridiculous. No faith. The worst thing that the government can do after screwing up all this time is to then lose our full faith and confidence, to lose credibility. They have no credibility. They don't have credibility. The Surgeon General must be fired. I will never believe a word that he says, no matter what it is. I've seen him directly lie with his mouth, and I've seen him lie on his Twitter. He's unreliable. We got to get rid of all these clowns that we don't believe. He can't just start telling the truth now. It's a broken mirror. I'm not going to trust him. He must be fired. The Surgeon General must be fired. He is not trustworthy, no matter what he says. He's already lied, and he's lied to millions of people. There's no telling how many deaths it's going to cause. What's Weishan saying? Weishan saying, told my wife who wants to get groceries tomorrow to gear up with all the stuff I bought her, and she still wants to go with the medical mask instead of the 7502. I got my 7502 right here. And I bought her, and I compromised to use an old P2 disposable I have still sitting around. Community spread has started in WA. Community spread. Once you get to that, that's it. All right. Integral Doc. Matt Getz had friends. Who's Matt Getz? I don't know who he is. In high places, multiple DUIs in Florida. Yeah. Oh, there's people who've got away with it from Florida because they do have. I mean, if you reach a certain level of power in Florida, you can get out of just about anything for sure. But there's this. Most people cannot. You'll reach a certain level that you can, and then you reach a little higher than that, and you won't be able to. There's a sweet space of having a lot of power, but you're really not too public, and you'll be able to get away with it. But like, who's this old mayor of Tallahassee? What's his name that just got caught with his gay lover? Did his gay lover just die in the hotel? What's that guy that was just running for governor? What's his name, that clown? And he lost governorship to DeSantis. DeSantis is squared away. Oh, DeSantis might make a good president. I'm not sure about that. Eyes on DeSantis. He's showing leadership. Actually, that Democrat up in New York, Cuomo, is showing strong leadership. I know some people call him this or that or a fascist, but he is showing strong leadership, and he's showing also thoughtful and measured leadership, unlike some others. But so is DeSantis, and Hellcat 2 saying, Mike, did you hear about the cluster in Thailand from some kickboxing matches? Can you elaborate? I didn't hear about it because there's so many clusters I've stopped tracking. I mean, we've gotten to the point where it's beyond tracking. I mean, nursing homes are going to start falling one after another. I mean, you're going to watch nursing homes get wiped out. If your loved one is in a nursing home now, I highly suggest getting him or her out of it, like right now, today. And if you're not home to your hard point where you want to be, then you need to get on it right now. And I don't mean tomorrow. I mean, like, you need to turn off this broadcast and stop and pack your stuff and go, right? Because you might not even make it. If you need to drive right now from California to Florida, well, California's already shut down. So, I mean, other states are going to start shutting down. Here we are driving across this country. Oh, state line shut down. Take it right. Go north. That one's shut. Uh-oh. Now, Tetris. You're going to get Tetrised in. You know what I mean? You're going to get stuck somewhere in some roach motel. And you can bet hotels are going to start being, taken as and schools and whatnot are going to be clinics. That's just the way it's going to be. The U.S. military ain't going to be able to save you. There's too much. There's going to be too many cases. Quarantine. Stay home. It is very serious. Let's see. Community spread in Western Australia. I think Australia has said that they're closing for 6 months or something, right? There's so many things going on now that I've stopped tracking all the individual. It's just too much. And as I've said since about January, we're going to get to the point where saying that so-and-so closed their restaurants, it's like, so there's 10,000 more restaurants closed today. 1,000 here, 2,000 there, 400 here, whatever. They're closing. Borders are closing. You're going to be stuck wherever you're at. Wherever you're at, you're about to be stuck. And so unless you can walk, and remember, confirmation bias is our enemy. Confirmation bias is we want to believe things, and so if people come up and tell us things like it's just the flu, then we'll go it's just the flu, and then then you'll act like it's just the flu, and then you kill your grandparents because you're like it's just the flu, which can kill them anyway. Then you go visit your grandparents in a nursing home and kill the whole nursing home, right? I mean, it's like this is where we're at. Let's talk in real terms here. Let's stop messing around. All these years I spent in war, and you'll see. Don't do that shit, and boom, he's dead. And it's that quick, just like that. I told you a story here, I don't know, a week or so ago. I was up in, I can tell you stories like this all day long. One you can look up on the internet. I was up in northern India. I was tracking cannibals, right? And there was this Israeli. His name was Ori Yelinik. Ori Yelinik. He was 23 years old. We're in a place called Lakshman Jula. It's near Rishikesh, near Hardwar, right? Up in that area, right? Near that bridge that the Beatles went over and all that. And Steve Jobs, Seeking Enlightenment, all that bridge at Lakshman Jula. I used to sit at that bridge. I watched it for 3 weeks waiting for that cannibal to come across, arguably 5. And there was a bookstore there called the German Bakery or something. Anyway. So one morning he got out and he was going to cross the Ganges River in an inner tube with these 2 Kiwis, these 2 New Zealanders. And I said, Ori, I wouldn't do that shit if I were you. Look at the river. Listen to it. It's loud. Whirlpools. Monsoon. We never found his body. Never found him. Searched for days. Dead. I could tell you stories like that all day long. Telling people in Thailand, don't rent motorbikes. You'll get killed. And look it up. You won't believe how many motorbike accidents I've physically seen with my eyes. How many have you seen in your country? Probably not many. But if you look up motorcycle accidents in Thailand, you'll see it's #1 in the world. And people are like, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Yes, it is. And they'll be like, I've ridden motorbikes all over the world. I've won enduro or whatever. It's like, yeah, you'll just get killed. Yeah, that was the guy, Andrew Gillum in Florida. What a clown. Let's see, Wayshawn is saying over here in Australia, it has the name pool shock. Oh, you're talking about for water sanitation. That's what we call it in Florida, too. Yeah, exactly. Von Deson is saying flu's been around for thousands of years. It's natural defense. We already have herd immunity to it. It kills some of us every year, a lot of us, actually. But it doesn't, ravage our everything. And now it does. And remember, I want to say it again, as I've said it about 10 times already. If you engage in high-risk activities such as rock climbing, mountain biking, juggling chainsaws, anything like that, going to discos at this point, and you get sick or you get hurt, and you go to a hospital, you may not get in. Even if you've had a car accident and you got a pole sticking through your head, you may not get in. The hospitals will be full. You'll just die. Simple. You were just having a simple day out with your mountain bike like any other day and happened to have an accident that day. And, normally you would have survived, but not this time because there's no hospital beds. And the doctors, a lot of them are sick. They're not able to make it in. Some are going to be dying. We're going to have a lot of doctors and nurses dying soon. And so they are our soldiers. We need to support all of our medical personnel, support law enforcement personnel, all military personnel, support National Guard, support them to do their jobs. If everybody helps one person every day, we're going to be good to go. Everybody help one person. That's all you got to do. Everybody help one person. That goes massively. Either help them with groceries or something. Whatever. If it's law enforcement, if it's a nurse or something, ask them, hey, do you need me to feed your dog? Do you need me to do whatever? Check on your house or whatever. What do you need me? Just tell me what you need me to do. What's the top 2 things you need me to do? I'll do them, right? And it doesn't mean loan you $10 million. But, tell me the top 2 or 3 things that you think I can handle, and I'll handle it for you, right? And then when you're fit, that'll go a long way. And then to make your heart feel better for what China has done to us, every single day, do something that damages the Chinese Communist Party every day. Even if it's just make a tweet that undermines them. if it's write something on the internet that undermines the Chinese Communist Party. Every single day, help somebody, and every single day, shoot an arrow at the Chinese Communist Party and try to hit them right in the face. Every single day. If that means not buying something from China, do that. If that means writing something about them, do that. If it means calling it the China virus, do that. CNN's so upset with that. I was looking at something here. CNN's so upset about, the Chinese have tried to blame this on us, on the United States. I told you. Look, I've written 3 books on Chinese information war, right? If you speak Japanese, go on Japan, go on Amazon.jp and look up my books. I've written 3 books on Japanese. They're in Japanese. I didn't write them in Japanese. They're translated, and it's on Chinese information warfare. And I said very clearly back in January, they will blame this on the United States. I know what they will do. And they'll blame it on Japan. They will find some way to blame it on Japan and the United States. They always do. That's the nature of this thing, right? And so that's what they will do. Vampires go to fresh blood, and so the Chinese communists. Right, let's start taking some questions. The Spanish death toll, by the way, is past 1,000. They're starting to use hotels as hospitals. Yeah. Spain has shut down hotels, campgrounds, RV parks. Italy and Spain have had their record highest days of fatalities, and that's going to continue. How long until they hit a peak? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Let's see. Here we go. Family stuck in Spain after country goes into corona, whatever, man. There's families stuck all over the place. Help one of them out. If you see somebody that's stuck in your country, help them out. Because there's going to be people stuck all over the world. Imagine you're going on vacation somewhere and you're waiting to get your flight, and it's like, announcement, flights have been canceled. And you're like, uh-oh. I'm not exactly rich. What am I going to do? I'm stuck in this country that I was just transiting or something. I don't even know where I'm at. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Live in the airport? I guess. What are you going to do? So if everybody helps one person, that is massive. Help one person to make the world go round better, and take one poison arrow shot, poison dart, whatever, every single day. Take a shot at the Chinese Communist Party. It'll make you feel a lot better. I've been doing it for years, and trust me, it warms my heart to take a shot. Every time I take a shot at the Chinese Communist Party and I feel like it hit, I'm like, high five. You know what I'm saying? And so you can feel that way too. Don't let all that angst go to waste. Use it. Use it to make poison arrows to shoot at the Chinese Communist Party. They did this to us. Okay, Integral Doc, he's down in Bangkok, says, my friend Anthony, nearly all flights into Don Muang, there's 2 international airports in Bangkok, that's one, were closed, canceled today. Bill Mitchell says, thank you, I have no arrows. I do have a 338. Well, that'll do it. Let's see. If they come over the wire, you know what to pop them with. All right. Our local hospital just retrofit. Michelle saying, Witzel. Our local hospital here just retrofitted its parking garage to be additional CV-19 testing space, beds, recliners in there. It's happening all over the place. Integral Doc is saying all malls in Thailand close tomorrow until at least April 12th. April 12th. Here, let me give you a wake-up call. It's not going to be April 12th. Trust me. This isn't even going to really seriously, massively hit Thailand until at least May. And that's just the math. And remember, I said that like more than a month ago. It's going to be, that's just the math when the Thai experts are looking at this that will, tell me behind the scenes. It's probably going to be about May-ish when Thailand really gets hit. So right now, you're just getting the winds off the horizon. It's coming. It's coming. And hey, here's the deal. If you are down in Bangkok or somewhere and you've just been hanging out with prostitutes, guess what? A lot of the number one destination for people from Wuhan, Bangkok. Huge amounts of sex tourists. straight to the prostitutes. Also going down to Phuket or Pattaya and here in Chiang Mai. So a lot of these sex tourists from Wuhan, straight to Bangkok, straight down to the beaches and straight here to Chiang Mai. So if you've been hanging out with the prostitutes, whether it's in the bars or in the brothels, be prepared. Make sure you got your thermometers. Numerous 3 people that I know that have been sick didn't have thermometers. And one of my friends in Los Angeles had to get somebody a FedEx or a thermometer because all the pharmacies were empty. So get thermometers. Make sure you check your temperature and write it down daily. Bradley Nauman saying, "Do you think air pollution will affect people infected in certain high population areas?" Well, if we listen to the medical doctors, I'm not saying what I think. I'm going to tell you what they seem to think. Yes, that's what they seem to think because it causes problems already with our respiratory systems and it makes us more vulnerable. That's what the medical doctors are saying over and over. So we're about to pay for a lot of sins. We're about to pay for polluting the air. We're about to pay in the United States and here in Thailand for having medical systems that encourage people and work systems that encourage people to not go to the hospital, that encourage people to go to work when you're sick. Thailand and the United States, we are going to pay. We are going to pay. And we're going to pay dearly. We are going to pay dearly. Sorry about that on the paper. We are sorry about that on the microphone. It should be good now. I'm going to put this paper over here so I don't accidentally do it. But we are going to pay dearly for. We're going to pay dearly that we've made the medical system and the work system in the United States so really draconian for the small people. Remember, I've said it before. I'm very anti-communist, but I've spent years with communists, whether that's in Nepal or many countries. I realize why it's so easy to sell. There's many reasons why it's very easy to sell. It's very easy to sell because the communists can come in and go, look, you're being treated like this because that guy's out on a yacht. And you can't your kid is sick. I was in Nepal one time walking back from Mount Everest, right? And there's a man with his daughter and his wife, right? And I must have seen them for about 3 days. A little baby. He was with his wife and I think it was a daughter, right? And I think I've got photos of him. Anyway, I asked him, because I kept bypassing him during this about 3-day period walking back from Mount Everest. And I asked him, he spoke English. I'm like, why are you going so fast? I mean, I could keep up because he had the baby and all that sort of stuff. He's trying to go fast, but I was going just as fast. And he's like, my baby's got diarrhea. And I said, where are you going? He's like, well, they had to go all the way it was very, very far. It was many days walking. As you know, a baby can die in 1 day from diarrhea. And babies die every day from diarrhea. Simple as diarrhea, right? And it was very easy to sell Maoism out to those people because they were being treated like trash. They really were. That's the reason unions took off so heavily in the United States, because the factory owners were treating people like dirt, worse than slaves even. I mean, it's probably cheaper not to have slaves if you can have some of the old labor systems that we used to have. And then the unions got very powerful, and the unions became another Dracula. I mean, so we created another Dracula, And so it's like we've got to do something about our medical system in the United States. And this is a moment for self-reflection. We're all going to have a lot of time to think because, we should be quarantining. We're all going to have a lot of time to think at the funerals, and we're going to have a lot of time to think as we lose people in our family and our friends, because we're all going to lose people. And we're all going to have a lot of time to do some self-reflection. And there we go. Von Deson says, $1 Gatorade can fix that. What, can it fix it up near Mount Everest? No, it can't fix diarrhea up near Mount Everest. Because, and out in these villages all over the world that I go to, that, in countries and so many places that people treat people so badly, I understand like the minimum wage arguments that we have in the United States. I understand them in detail. I've owned small businesses in the United States. And I understand. And I grew up. My first job was working at Publix in Florida as a bag boy, and when I was 14, right, the year I killed that big alligator, actually. And so I understand the reasons that we have it are quite solid and good, actually. But there is something wrong with it, and we all know that. We all know that. We all know that in the richest country in the world, nobody should have to worry about going bankrupt because they got to go. They got some kind of broke their leg somehow. Nobody should have to worry about that. But here we are. And with the borders wide open. Borders just wide open. And people, every time they get a cold, they fill up our emergency rooms. Brian Kofage is down there building a wall. He had to raise money from 250,000 Americans to raise a wall because our government is so pathetic that they even stockpile masks or anything, much less build a wall. Our government is massively incompetent. The incompetence is hidden because Americans work so hard and make so much wealth that their incompetence is just hidden under the avalanche of gold. But now that gold is about to dry up, and now their incompetence is going to be really ultra apparent, right? That, for instance, our hospital ships, the Comfort and the Mercy, are not even deployed yet. And they're trying to spin this like the Chinese Communist information machine, like, we're going to speed them up there. Hello, Rambo. You should have been doing that in January. I've been saying it loud and clear over and over and over since January. We must prepare for this thing. I'm not the only one. Steve Bannon's been saying it. Chris Marson and that Dr. John Campbell over in England. So many others have been saying it. There's a lot of us been saying it. And yet the U.S. government's like, oh, it's time. And our ships aren't even ready. Are you kidding me? Our ships are not even ready. They're not even ready. They're not even anywhere near New York. And they're not even ready to sail yet. They should have been ready in January. It's unbelievable. Our government is absolutely incompetent. And if you want to put this off on Donald Trump, listen, nobody has to have an order from the president to get the ships ready. If you're in charge of those ships, you should be like, let me think about this. Who's in charge of those ships, right? That's medical stuff. Obviously, you should realize and anticipate. That's why, if you go to U.S. Special Operations Forces, you know what they're watching? The news all the time. You go into a headquarters, and it'll be like Fox News, CNN, Al Jazeera. It'll be all this. They'll have all these live streams coming, and then there'll be a little intel section. You know why? Because almost everything you need to know is right there. It's all open source. Almost everything you need to know is open source. Almost everything. Like almost everything is out there. I mean, it's not open source where Bin Laden was. That took a lot of work. But it's almost everything you need to know about something huge like this. It's right there. You don't need CIA. You don't need the access to CDC databases and all that. You need to pay attention, and you have to have good bullshit filters. And you have to think about it and study, and then it can come to you, right? The people who run those two medical ships, the Comfort and the Mercy, who's in charge of those ships? They should have said, you know what? We better start getting those ships ready. Because I think the president's going to call at some point, and we need to say, sir, we thought you might call. We're ready to go. Where do you want us to go? And they'll be like, okay. And it'll be like, when can you go? It'll be like, 1 hour. He'd be like, okay, go. Off we go. It should have been like that. Now, it's unbelievable. That's how incompetent our government is. Massively incompetent. They're unbelievably incompetent. Nationwide lockdown. Listen, there's different ways that a lockdown can happen. Many different ways, different faces of it. One is at state or county or city level, of course. It can happen at company level. Companies just say, we shut our doors, right? And that's happening all over, right? Some companies are just like, that's it, we're shut, right? Or people just don't go to work. So, it can happen at the individual level, like, I'm not going to work, so you just shut down, right? Or it can happen at the health department level. Our health departments in the United States are massively powerful. Health department can come in and go, snap, you're shut. just like that. I mean, like they've got the power of the law big time, and governors can shut down, and then we've got the federal level, right? So I mean, there's many different levels that this can happen on. So you should count. It's definitely going to happen. If it hasn't happened in your town yet, oh, it's a coming. Unless you're like way up in maybe Leadville, Colorado, or something. I don't know. John Sale, the USNS Mercy is in maintenance in a shipyard. These things take time. They must have noticed. They must have noticed. They must have noticed way back when that why is the Comfort taking so long? And what kind of maintenance is it on? Is it something that they could have sped up? I don't know. Are they changing out engines or something? I have no idea what the problem is. And I don't know about naval maintenance. But I know one thing. I know about government excuses and lies. I mean, you saw what I've done in the wars. Look up Michael Yon, 2 big military scalps for Michael Yon. Like the 2 generals and all these others that I catch doing this crap. Long list, right? I mean, and so, I mean, this is smelling bullshit and finding it and lasering in on it is I mean, that's one of my superpowers. And I smell bullshit. Why are 2 of our hospital ships not ready to deploy? This is late March. We knew in December something was wrong. We knew a lady in my hometown, she's got a website called Flu Trackers. She seems to be the one that noticed. Why didn't the CDC, with all their surveillance stuff, with all their computer networking and all this crap, and the CIA and all these people, because this is also part of CIA's job, why didn't the NSA and all this, why didn't all of our people pick up on this? Why didn't they, or if they did, why did not Yeah, empty cruise ships. We need to use empty cruise ships for every reason. We need to integral dock. Yeah, I've been saying since the beginning, India, integral dock. India may be about to explode. No way to contain. Look, all the Indians that come on my page and like, India can handle it. I'm like, no, you can't. I've been all over that place, in the north part of India anyway. If any place is going to explode into famine and war, it's probably going to be India. India, man, I'm telling you what, loosen up. Muslims and Hindus are about to have a knockdown drag out in India. I'll bet you $50 that they're going to have internecine. There's going to be Muslims and Hindus slaughtering each other on scales that we haven't seen since about, I don't know, 48, so sometime around there in the 1940s. It's going to be serious. That's my guess. And famine, limited famines, I would say 80% chance there'll be some famines in India. I don't know how big, because you know how these things can ripple. When you have famines and you have wars and you have famines, they can cause each other, right? And they can exacerbate each other. And pandemics make wars, pandemics make famines, famines make pandemics, wars make pandemics. This is like a triangle of hell. You know what I mean? They all make each other. Like famines can make wars. Famines can help create pandemics. Pandemics can create famines. It's like which pin do we need to pop this balloon? You know what I mean? It's a self-popping balloon. Yeah, it's going to be serious. I think there will be problems. Jennifer said, I heard cow urine drinking parties were curing the virus in India. I wouldn't doubt it if things like that are going on. I wouldn't doubt that at all, actually. I wouldn't doubt that, even for a microsecond. Von Deason, India is 1/8 Muslim. India pop is 1.3 billion. Yeah, that's about right. India has more Muslims than, I think, maybe any country in the world. Maybe, how many does Indonesia have? Maybe Indonesia has more. But I think India has more Muslims. I think Indonesia has more, but India has more Muslims than Pakistan has. India's got like 120 million Muslims, right? It's substantial. And so and they can be concentrated in some areas, or they're also quite mixed in some areas, like in Benares, Varanasi, Kashi. They're mixed. I'm telling you, there are not enough forests in India, in the subcontinent, to burn all the bodies that are going to be dying in India. The Ganges is going to be clogged with bodies. It's going to be something that will be talked about for centuries. If this continues on this, if this continues, Don Biggs, my old high school friend, hey Don, if you are Don, I think you probably are. Winter Haven Hospital already overwhelmed, and if that's you, Don, I hope you're doing quite well. And if you're in Winter Haven, we're from Winter Haven, Florida, which is a great place to grow up. We were talking. Yeah, the Comfort and the Mercy are two American hospital ships. Actually, I've wondered for years, why don't we have like 10, hospital ships? I think they've only got maybe 1,000 beds each or something like that. It's not very many. It's not very many. There's so many questions here. I'm going to try to answer a few. Von Deasons, can you catch the coronavirus twice? Now, I'm not a medical doctor or a scientist, so I'm not going to take a stab on that, other than I will repeat what credible sources have said. It appears, unless there's been new information in the last 48 hours, this is how fast this thing is moving, and it's going to take time to develop information that's really reliable. But the people that they thought caught it twice may have just been unresolved from the first time. Their symptoms abated, and they thought that they were cured, and then symptoms resumed, or they were tested again. I'm unclear on the details, but from what I've read, it looked like the same case, not recatching it. Let's take time. Like one thing we've got to be very careful of here is all these witchcraft cures that are going to come out, because every time something like this happens, it'll be like, this will do it. Drinking antifreeze will do it. You know what I mean? All kinds of crazy. I'm not saying it will. Drinking antifreeze will kill you. It'll kill your liver. You know what I'm saying? There's all kinds of things. I'm just saying that people will come up with all these solutions, snake oil solutions, and they want them fast because everything's going, so everybody's trying everything. Chill your jets, because there's going to be, everybody wants a miracle cure, and that confirmation bias thing it is a bad deal. Confirmation bias, for instance, that it's just the flu, when it's clearly not just the flu. This is clearly the pandemic of our lifetimes at bare minimum. It's almost certainly the most defining event in history that's been recorded that we know of since, human history that's recorded, is my guess at this point. Let's see. We'll know soon enough. We are living in a time that is an interesting time. It is like unbelievable. Hello in Michigan. I hope everything's good up there. Oh my gosh. I hope they're not drinking bleach. Good Lord. But I wouldn't doubt it. There are going to be many stories coming out of this. There's going to be a lot of interesting stories. Let's see. I'm looking for questions I can answer. I don't know if you can catch mutations of it. That's down to the virologist. That's down to the scientists that are going to have to tell us that. India and China have border disputes, and one is cooking off right now. You think? It's like, and what do you think is going to happen between Pakistan and India? Like I've said right from the beginning, if this thing blows, and it's blowing, there will be wars. There will be wars, and there will be famines. Exactly where they're at and the fate, how they'll unfold, is unknown to me. Like who will have the famines and who will have the wars, and how they'll resolve, heck if I know. But one thing I do know is, There will be famines and wars come from this. I just don't know where. Let's see. Hey, you spread stuff that is no good. Prior some already lived that. Okay. I'm looking for any questions. I'm going to get Yoko on soon. And let me also, I'd like to get Maddie on if she's okay to talk. If her condition is good enough that she can talk. Let me see if she sent me. She's not, doesn't even seem to have seen my last message. Lori Togden says, do I believe China has no new cases? I believe China lies. That brings up an important point. No, I don't believe China. Period. That's a blanket statement. If you ever ask me if I believe China X, the answer will be no. It will always be, if at any point you're tempted to ask me, do I believe China X, the answer will always be no. Because my experience with China is no. Very rarely do they say anything that's truthful, and if they do, it's in service to a lie, because they don't have any, they have no mooring to truth at all. They're only wed to power and wealth. That's it. All right, now we're going to see a lot of, famous people will start getting sick, not just, Tom Hanks. It's going to be loads. Loads of top politicians will be sick soon, and some will die. And loads of, there'll be world leaders, almost certainly, that'll die. We keep seeing these reports that, nothing's happening in Russia. Russia's not going to escape this. Unless they got some kind of magic, medicine up there. If they did, we would certainly hear about it. You're welcome, Dean. Dean says, thanks again, Michael, for staying on this and keeping us informed. I'm on it. This is the most earth human-changing event probably in all of history. This is... So, yeah, no, China is just completely unreliable. But you keep seeing media constantly. I see it several dozen times a day. Media will be like, and China seems to have gotten their cases under control. It's like, when did you suddenly start believing China? They'll not believe them today. 15 minutes later, they'll believe them again. And 10 minutes later, we don't believe them. Then we'll believe them again. It's like, where did you go to school? I mean, did you go to school? Gell-Mann effect, Gell-Mann amnesia. Look up Gell-Mann amnesia. Gell, Gell, dash, man, M-A-N-N, amnesia. Don't remember. Gell-Mann amnesia. Look it up. Really good thing to learn about it. And guard against, at all times, guard against Gell-Mann amnesia. Guard against confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a killer. It is an absolute killer. Confirmation bias is one of those things that are used to lead people into traps. Even a self-made trap. All right. I am going to shut off for now. And I'm going to call up Yoko and see if she can come on now. Yeah, and then I'll come back on after a station break here, and try to come back on with Yoko up in Japan, and hopefully my microphone will be doing better. And then we'll answer questions as we can. All right, mic out. End broadcast.